The Fab Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Vita, Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua, Furniture Partner, Rhinoland.
Namaste and welcome to the Fab Show. तपाईहरुले हामीलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हिमालय टेलिभिजनमा। हामी फेरि छोटो विश्राम पछाडी फर्केर आएको छौं। नयाँ सेट, नयाँ जोश, नयाँ जागर र आज बिहीबारको दिन चाहिँ चाडबाडको लागि पनि राष्ट्र के भन्छ हाम्रो विदा भएको कारणले पनि ठुलो फेस्टिभल्सहरु छ। त्यही भएर म आज मज्जाले एउटा नेपाली पहिरनमा सजिएर आएको छु। आज मेरो को-होस्ट हुनुहुन्छ डाक्टर समीर मणि दीक्षित। Very excited to present this show with you.
Absolutely. Congratulations. शुभकामना आजको विशेष दिनको लागि।
हजुर।
विभिन्न कुरा विभिन्न अरूका प्रोग्रामहरु मध्ये आज यमरी पूर्णि पनि हो। सबैजना जसले मनाइरहनु पर्छ। लेक्चर पनि एउटा आज एउटा कार्यक्रम छ भने अरु कार्यक्रमहरु छन्। यमरी पूर्णि पनि छ। आज एकदम विशेष दिन छ र आज त्योभन्दा विशेष हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ at least as far as the show is concerned, Alex, is हामीसँग आज एकदम interesting र एकदम रमाइलो गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ। We have a very interesting guest with us today. We have already identified the guest in our social media. हाम्रो Instagramहरु पोस्टहरुमा हिमालय टेलिभिजनको Facebook पोस्टमा पनि आइसकेको छ। आज हामीसँग एम्बेसडर अफ UK टु नेपाल हुनुहुन्छ। तर उहाँको बारेमा हामीले तयार पारेको एउटा भिडियो हेरौँ, त्यसपछि अरु कुराकानी हामीहरु गरौँला।
Welcome, Ambassador.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
So how are you today? We're so happy to have you on this show. Finally, it's taken some time, but it's what a beautiful day when so many festivals are taking place all over the country.
I do love festivals, and this studio is fantastic, so congratulations.
And you are the first one on this new set, the new revised, reformed set.
I feel very happy to be here.
Ambassador, and we're so happy to have you, as Alex has already stated. And we just wanted to start by asking you, diplomacy, ambassador. I mean, this is a very demanding job, and you're bringing your own country to another country, and you're representing that country. How did you even decide that you wanted to get into the foreign service or diplomacy or ambassador? How did you even start that thought process?
Well, yeah, so I fell into this. I actually wanted your kind of job. I mean, my first interest was in the media and journalism.
Wow.
And in fact, I had been, so I was trying to escape from my father's shadow, basically. So my father was a diplomat. I was born abroad. I was born in Myanmar, lived in China and all over the world. But also I went to the same school as him, then the same sort of boarding school, and I went to the same college at the same university. I had a small rebellion and didn't do history because that was my favorite subject, but it was his subject. So I did a different one, and I was much less good at that. And then when it came to getting a job, I was sort of sitting these entrance exams for the civil service, but also trying to get a job as a journalist, and I just couldn't. In the end, when the Foreign Office said, okay, you can have a job, I said, good. So that's how it happened.
Well, you've had a very colorful career so far. Since around mid-2023, you've been placed in Nepal. Before this, you were in Indonesia. You were also in Brunei. So kind of similar parts of the world, but so varied as well. So, 2.5 years down the line, what has been quite a interesting thing about Nepal so far, or some challenges?
Nepal does not disappoint. We're not in control of our own careers. You can only bid for jobs that appear in the window. I was doing a job in Jakarta, but when Nepal appeared in the window, I fought for it because I have always wanted to come to this country. I'm the only person I know who had never been to Nepal. My sort of family network had all been through Nepal. And when my father was High Commissioner in Delhi, they came up to Nepal for holidays of a lifetime. Brought back to the family these Tiger Tops T-shirts. You know, when I was small, I grew up with a Tiger Tops T-shirt, and I was always thinking, got to go there, got to see a tiger, which I still haven't done, by the way.
You haven't?
Not yet. No, Nepal it fits into that sweet spot. You know, there are jobs around the world for diplomats in countries which are important to the UK, but some of them, frankly, you don't need an embassy to explain. You know, you could do it on the phone, honestly. From the Netherlands, my first job, to London, you could have done it on the phone. You know, the Dutch are very open and in some respects comprehensible to the UK. And then there are other countries which are very hard to understand, but which the UK doesn't actually care about that much. You know, it's a long way away. We don't have that intense relationship. And Nepal is in that sort of center of the Venn diagram where we really care about the country, but you can't understand it from afar. You know, you have to be here. So for me, that's the perfect diplomatic posting.
And I look at your social media posts. I follow you on X, formerly Twitter, and your posts are full of, you know, cultural exchanges. You're taking part in this and that, and it's amazing. And one instance that I've mentioned to you in the past also is in Janakpur, Janaki Mandir, where you and the spouse, where I forget her name. I'm sorry.
Julia, no worry, Julia.
Julia, right? So hello, Julia. So if you're watching, so you guys did a vows thing, ceremony thing, and it's amazing. So what is it about the Nepali culture that attracts you so much? I mean, there is diversity, no doubt. But what is it for you?
So, I mean, Janakpur was it was a build-up of different layers of interest. So Madhesh is a sort of focal point for our development partnership. We do a lot of work in Madhesh. So I had been to Janakpur a number of times. Actually, I think I was there just before the great sort of Festival of Love, when there were drums being beaten throughout the night. Nobody slept a wink, you know, and I got a kind of, from an outsider view of Janakpur's kind of special festival. I also went to, this is what happened. I went to the Janaki temple, and the priest in charge said, "Where is your wife?" And I said, "Oh, well, she's in Kathmandu." And he said, "Well, why have you come without your wife? You know, what's the point of coming here without your wife?" And so I kind of promised. I said, "Well, I will come back, sir. I will come back. I'll bring my wife." You know. So that's why when I was trying to decide where to have our anniversary, it wasn't a special number. It was just, you know, the day we got married. The other thing was Sita, Princess Sita, Ramayana. You know, Nepal hosts a number of globally significant sites.
Right.
And the City of Love, you know, the romance of the Ramayana, it is the sort of Romeo and Juliet of Asia. And the idea then just came into my mind. And then having gently suggested it to my colleagues in Janakpur, they went to town. And it was, we just were in the grip of this sort of romantic sort of roller coaster, and wore whatever they said, and you know, it was just brilliant as well.
Wow. And you can see the pictures on social media. It was recently shared just a few weeks ago as well on Vivaha Panchami, talking about culture. As Samimani Dixit said, today is a very cultural day, Yomari Puni. It's also the Rai community's Udhauli, as well as Limbu community's Chasok Tangna. And you know, if you have any time today, I know you have a busy schedule, you should at least have Yomari, or you know, dance to the beats of some Rai instruments or the Limbu Chabrung as well.
A lot of things happening today.
A lot of things happening. So talking about culture, I love that, you know, as a diplomat, you have not only immersed yourself to the different cultural festivals here, but also language. You are taking that up by storm.
Well, no,
maybe you can try something.
honestly,
here also.
I think I'm getting worse. But I did try really hard to learn Nepali in between Jakarta and Kathmandu. It's a fair task because there is a strong grammar in this language, which I like. You know, I did study classics, so Latin and Greek at university. I'm used to learning grammar. And though I've learned a lot of Nepali grammar, I have not been exposed to a lot of Nepali kind of daily chit-chat.
Okay.
So I'm one of these people who can understand a speech about bilateral relations in
Yes.
Nepali. My comprehension is quite high.
Yeah,
but
that's
in a market, I can't say, give me that fish. You know, I can't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm stuck in
It's
between.
too high level.
Yes, exactly. But I do. Oh look, there.
Yes.
Yes, I do love the language. It's
There's
it's
the picture, by the way. It's
Right,
a stunning picture.
So
that you
on
can
the
see.
screen, we're
Yeah.
putting some pictures on the screen. But no, but it's amazing that, you know. And are there any words that you have learned? Any phrases?
So I've learned the classic, you know, Tapai Lai Kasto Cha, and then Josunera Malay Kusilagyo. You know, these sorts of exchanges I can do. I have colleagues at the embassy who suggest things, and there was a word that really took off in a way I hadn't expected, lastai, which
Lastai.
apparently it's the word last, but sort
Yes.
of Nepalified and quite current.
Yes, yes.
And I, after I did this thing saying I'm, you know, Ma Nepali Bahasa Siktai Chu, and this is my first new word, and I would just go around town and people would go, lastai!
It's very, very popular word right now.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
No, lastai. No, absolutely. No, you had something?
Yes, no, I often see your updates on social media where you talk about the word of the day or the week. And once you spoke about rangi changi and how it makes you happy. And I thought that was so nice to see another perception and take on a word. Sometimes we just think it's just a word, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Nepali, I mean, all languages have this, but Nepali is full of these sort of internal rhymes. And Rangi Changi is a great one. Wari Pari, you know, these
Yes.
sorts of words.
Yeah.
And to me, it brings back Holi. I mean, Holi is a day when we all
course.
get
Of
Rangi
course.
Changi. And what fun. And I think, as you were saying, the diplomatic world can be kind of a bit dry
Yes.
and a bit pompous.
Yes.
But frankly, by the time you've been pelted with water and, you know, die by kids all over Durbar Square,
Yes.
you're just in the middle of this wonderful kind of fellow feeling. I'm not working then, I'm just
Yeah.
having a ball.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
And also now as we, I mean, it's been like over 2 years now since you've been here, and you have couple of more years.
2 more, I
years
hope.
Of,
Yeah, I do hope.
of the tenure, and who knows, you might want to extend. You know.
I've already extended 4, I think is my limit, but if I can, I will, I promise, yeah.
And actually, we want to get into now more into the diplomacy and, you know, the relations, the conversation we want to have with you. Now that we know how excited you are being in Nepal and the things you are doing, what we might do is right now is we'll go to a break. When you come back, we'll talk. Let's talk about the diplomacy and the relationship between the UK and Nepal. Let's get to that. Yeah. But for right now, अहिले हामी एउटा छोटो ब्रेकमा जाउँ. ब्रेक पछि हामी एम्बेसडर लिएर अरू कुरा गरेर हामी रेडी हुन्छौँ. अहिले छोटो ब्रेक.
At Rhinoland, you don't just get custom-made furniture. They create beauty and functionality. From your homes to offices to luxury resorts, hotels, restaurants, and cafes, they design and craft furnitures that transform spaces. Using treated and seasoned wood paired with premier fabrics and leather, they ensure durability, elegance, and sustainability in every piece.
The Fab Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Vita. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhinoland.
ब्रेक पछाडि फेरि तपाईहरुलाई स्वागत छ। तपाईहरुले हामीलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ द फ्याब शो हिमालय टेलिभिजनमा। आज हाम्रो कुराकानी राम्रोसित अगाडि गइरहेको छ युके को राजदूत हिज एक्सलेन्सी रब फेनसँग, हैन? सुरुको कुराकानीमा उहाँको बाल्यकाल, उहाँको यो डिप्लोमेसीमा कसरी एन्टर हुनुभएको कुराकानी गर्दै थियौं भने अब चाहिँ युके र नेपालको मित्रताको बारेमा पनि अब हामी अलिकति छलफल गर्ने छौं। So Ambassador, I would like to ask you, we've mentioned, UK and Nepal have a 200-year plus strong friendship. There's also so many kind of different things that ties the UK and Nepal together. You've talked about where Nepal is in the Venn diagram. So in your kind of day-to-day role, how do you balance all that, as well as, the direction that you would like to take this friendship to in the coming days?
Well, it's a very good question, because actually I could spend my whole time talking about the past.
Yes.
And my job is to help Nepal with the future, and help our relationship into the future. So I try not to spend too much time on the past, but it's so unique. I mean, we met on the battlefield. We were not friends at the beginning, but that sort of respect that was forged more than 200 years ago, quickly blossomed into a military partnership, and then a partnership of peoples, which has gone so much wider. And only like 3 weeks ago, we had a kind of festival of civil society inside the British Embassy. It has the weird name Brango, but I think that just stands for Britain and Nepal NGO Organization. Yes. And that's a way of bringing together under one tent all the sort of feisty and uncontrollable bits of British civil society that face Nepal and want to interact with Nepal. And then after that, we had I think again, a novel, probably unique moment when the Nepal-Britain Society hosted the Britain-Nepal Society. And those two sort of boards or leaderships met together and talked about how they could be greater than the sum of their parts. So I think a lot of my work is about making the most of what ordinary Britons and ordinary Nepalis want to do in partnership. Being a representative of a government, I mean, that means a lot of what we do is a bit top down. We've got visits and development programs and cooperation in the United Nations, this sort of thing. Great admirer of Nepal's peacekeeping credentials and so on. And of course, we have the Brigade of Gurkhas, which was kind of at the heart of it and has now spun out into all these amazing socioeconomic benefits for both countries. So I think how I balance and how I kind of prioritize is try and keep both things in mind. There's so much I can bring as a government, but that only goes halfway, because it's the people meeting and what the people do, and trying to keep in touch with that. So it's actually, I have to say, quite a challenge. But that's what civil society is, right? It's uncontrollable, and that's how it should be. So often I'm just a spectator. I'm just like, oh my goodness, we've got this organization that is doing something bilateral. I have almost a favorite example in the world of medicine. I mean, here in, I know you're interested, but here we have the OCRU, the Oxford.
We collaborate with them also.
Yes, indeed, I know. And I met Dr. Buddha very early here. He was wearing a different hat. It was all about Himalaya rescue, high altitude, rescue and medicine. And then he told me the story about how, because of the connections in the medical world between Nepal and UK, when we were globally hit by the pandemic, nobody knew what was an effective therapy. It's hard to remember the fear we all felt in those days.
Absolutely.
We had no idea how to treat this thing. And professors in Oxford and professors here in Nepal were talking anyway about other collaborations. And they agreed that they should start this trial, this therapy data collection, because just to see what works.
Right.
And later on, this became a really powerful medical paper and experiment. And when it was published, I forget which eminent journal it was published in, there was the data from the UK,
Right.
and then there was the data from Nepal, and then there was the data from China and the US and India. And it was just so cool to see UK-Nepal medical collaboration leading the world.
I might just add in this context that the Oxford University team, Professor Pollard, who developed the first vaccine against COVID, Covishield, was very instrumental when it came to Nepal. Nepal was one of the very first countries globally to even test, well, not to test actually, to implement the Covishield vaccine. And this saved countless lives. Having already done the clinical trial and all that, having completed that. And while the people in the UK were being vaccinated with Covishield, so were the people in Nepal also. So the UK has a lot of contribution in the vaccine against COVID, a very effective vaccine, if I might add. So we have to thank the UK scientific committee also for that.
And focusing on emerging talents and I guess young people, there's the UK government also supports the Chevening Scholars as well.
Oh, yes.
Can you share a little about what it is, and especially to some of our viewers who may be hearing of it for the first time?
So the Chevening Scholarship takes its name from the country house which the Foreign Secretary traditionally has as a retreat. It's been going for decades, I forget how many, but many, many years. It is a fully paid master's scholarship. And I think what distinguishes it from other government-sponsored scholarship schemes is that the UK does not specify what field the applicants should pitch for. They should follow their heart. We're looking for leaders, not for chemists or international affairs experts or whatever. And so in a Chevening cohort, you can get an astrophysicist and someone, literally, I met one Chevening scholar from Nepal who was studying how to help resolve intercommunal conflict through the medium of dance. And I was just thinking, wild, but actually, because she was so impressive as an individual and so driven, we knew she was going to be a mover and shaker, so she got the scholarship. Meanwhile, we were also investing in economists and more mainstream academic fields. And Chevening, because it's been going for so long and because it is so focused on sort of passion, it is a very effective alumni network. And so I like to think it delivers for the recipients of these scholarships long after they come back from the UK, because they have to come back from the UK.
Yeah, I love that. So I know quite a few people who have, who are Chevening scholars as well, and what they've gone on to do, some of them, and the network that they unlock. There's quite a lot of network receptions that the UK Embassy here holds as well. And I think that's really right, and that's something that, every different institution should do as well. So yeah, really good for that. And something that I read on my way to today, that actually last year or up to mid-2025, I think the number of Nepalis studying internationally as a student in the UK has gone up. So from Nepal, so the number's really high, around nearly over 80,000 at the moment. So there's definitely a lot to kind of make sure that we corral these energies into a right direction.
100%,
and make sure that they come back.
And help them stay connected to this country. So I mean, it's a bittersweet thing, right? When kids go abroad to study, we're always delighted if they choose the UK, but only if that's right for them. I spend a lot of time thinking about the sort of pastoral side, working with the Nepal Embassy in London and with the British Council and with the Ministry of Education here, to try and make sure that Nepalis on the campuses of British universities do not fall through the net, become isolated, alienated and sad. And a lot of them travel with this terrible weight of family expectation on them.
Of course.
And I feel very empathetic. I was a student once. I can remember that pressure of parental hope. And sometimes there's a terrible loan to pay back, and you know, so I also spend as much time trying to help Nepal diversify the education offer here in Nepal at locally affordable prices. And I think that's one of the sort of structural achievements I would like to leave behind. If I could possibly help Nepal open up its private education sector to what we call transnational education more fully, then I think it would be more kind of fair, but also Nepal would have an opportunity to really become an education hub. There's no reason why you shouldn't send your kids to be educated in Nepal. It is, and you've got the two biggest markets in the world for this, right next door. So that's quite a dream, but there's a way to go. But you're right, Lex, that Nepali studying in the UK are a good thing, but it's all about making sure they don't drift away. And so just to get sort of economic for a second, if I can achieve anything else in my last 2 years, it would be to help the Nepali diaspora play a role in this country of the kind that the Indian diaspora played in India, and we saw what happened. And I think, you know, there are some obstacles to inward investment, and of course, the enfranchisement of the diaspora would be great. The logical extension of that, which I know is not possible with many countries, because countries can choose how to do this. But in the UK, we have no difficulty with joint citizenship. You know, you can be British and something else, just not a problem for us. And so if any of these devices fit Nepal, it would be great, because I think the diaspora is doing great things for other countries, and it should be doing it here as well.
Ambassador, lovely to talk to you again. We'll have a short break. We'll come back to you with a few more questions and a bit more conversation. र अहिले चाहिँ बेला भएको चाहिँ एउटा छोटो ब्रेक हो। हामीसँग बेलायती राजदूत हुनुहुन्छ हामीसँग, र हामी उहाँसँग कुरा निरन्तर दिनेछौँ अहिले छोटो ब्रेक पछि।
At Rhinoland, you don't just get custom-made furniture. They create beauty and functionality. From your homes to offices to luxury resorts, hotels, restaurants, and cafes, they design and craft furniture that transform spaces. Using treated and seasoned wood paired with premier fabrics and leather, they ensure durability, elegance, and sustainability in every piece.
Brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Vita. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhinoland.
And we're back. तपाईं हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ द फ्याब शोमा हामी राम्रो कुराकानी गरिरहेका छौं हाम्रो ambassador Rob Fenn, UK ambassador to Nepal. Ambassador, we were speaking about education. So just before we move away from the education topic, do you have any messages for any young, hopeful or mid-career professionals who may want to pursue studying in the UK or just going there to see what options lie?
Well, you've teed this up beautifully.
That's what we do.
My message to the departing Chevening scholars went something like this. So, Dere Padnus, Belayat Gurnus, Ani Parkera, Nepalko Sewa Garnus. Because I want people to have a great time in the UK, travel, really get under the skin of my country, and then bring it home.
Yes.
That is a condition of our scholarships.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I guess Lex has done. That's, I guess, what I've done. You know, we've gone overseas and come back and we're doing all these different things. Ambassador, I wanted to ask you, in a similar topic, the role of British Council. Now, I remember in my, I connect that to the British Library also, you know, when I was in school, a long time ago. Don't ask my age. So I used to go to the British Library and, you know, go through the documents and all that. That's so much fun. But now that has gone online. But the British Council as an entity is very much in existence and is evolving with time. Could you tell us something more about how the British Council is moving forward, especially in Nepal?
Very close to my heart. Because, you know, we were talking earlier about the sort of dry government bit and then the chaotic people-to-people bit. And the British Council fits in the middle and is really brilliant at harnessing the cultural links, some education, and some language. They're really into sort of IELTS and English language teaching. The British Council has been in Nepal for 66 years, and they have a very strong little film. I don't know if you can use it at any point, but it's quite a frank film. It doesn't sort of shy away from some of the drama which has happened in this country during that time. But it just shows that the British Council was building and building and building alongside all those events. And now they are, in my view, pretty central to our cultural relations. They are separate from the British Embassy. They have a separate identity, though we sort of share a footprint. They just constantly surprise me with their inventiveness. They had one suite of programs which began in a way I was sort of expecting. It was a cultural cookbook going around, you know, the regions of Nepal and tapping them all into a cookbook. There was sort of the Mithila art. We all know a lot about that, and I was sort of nodding along. Yes, and then suddenly they came up with this program in Dolpa. Which was an intergenerational conversation about the built environment. And there is, in Dolpa, there are, apparently, according to this program, there is a gap between the young people and the old people. And the old people know what things should look like, what a stupa should look like, what their homes should look like, where the road should go, what the schools should look like. And there didn't seem to be a mechanism for consulting young people. And the British Council and their implementation partners are trying to bridge this gap and facilitate dialogue between the generations on their built environment. And I just think, wow, you know, that's something that the British government could never do. But somehow the British Council found a way to be involved.
And something that I've been part of and also gone to the WOW Festival that the British Council also do. It's a very key flagship event that has been taking place, or what did take place in Kathmandu last year, but I know it's gone outside of Kathmandu as well. And lots of different things with films, arts, music, and exchanges where young talents or emerging talents have gone to the UK for exposure visits as well, which I think is so important.
No, they're great at that. They're great at talent spotting and just creating a space in which the talent magically flourishes. Always between the two countries. So, I mean, thank you. That's exactly where the magic happens.
So, moving away from arts, culture, education, I know that there's a lot of focus on health as well as climate and what sustainable development should look like. I know there's so many different competing areas and priorities in Nepal, but what do you think should be, you know, what will be the UK's focus in the coming days in terms of, you know, any areas of challenge that the UK will help Nepal on?
We have been thinking really hard about this. we have an in-house answer to it, which will be meaningless to you, which is lens A. But I tell you, there were lots of different lenses, and we've settled on lens A. And the sort of heart of that is that it is more effort in the private sector, trying to unlock the magic of markets for job creation in Nepal. That's central. It's central because it's more what the country needs immediately. It's also central because it's what the multilateral development banks, the World Bank and the ADB, are prioritizing. And so we are trying to be more efficient in the way we work with these multilateral agencies and organizations. And I sometimes talk about trying to be, if you know this maritime metaphor, the pilot fish to the World Bank whale. And it's not that they're unguided, but they are not agile in the way that a bilateral ODA provider can be. So some of these small turnkey projects which can help what I think of as Nepal's entitlement, frankly. Nepal could draw down from these multilateral banks much more than it currently benefits from. And if we can unlock these reserves and bring them into Nepal through our own bilateral activities, I will be very happy. But I don't want you to think, you did mention health, that we are just all about the private sector. Because one of the things we've learned is that you can't kind of magic jobs into being if you haven't also worked on the human capital side.
Of course.
So, and this is where our work in education, and I talked earlier about private sector education, but in the public sector, we are so involved in the Ministry of Education. And recently we've had a big sort of festival with our other development partners and UNICEF, with the Ministry of Education on what is called CSEP, I think it's School Education Support Program. I have to say that is a model of how to use development partners. They really, we co-created, and things like UNICEF can bring in the most amazing advice from all around the world. And then in the health sector, just last week, we had a reception in my house around something called the Global Fund. It's a Geneva-based vertical, well, you will know.
I'm very familiar with that.
And the Global Fund is the really big bucks, and not very long ago, we nearly lost the Global Fund in Nepal. There's a big sort of controversy around who was the principal who got the check. And that got fixed through a lot of sort of clever diplomacy, both by the Ministry of Health and by partners like the UK, who found a middle way, and now it's coming to Nepal through UNDP in huge sums of money. But what I was trying to do was to just find us some kind of structure through which the development partners that care most about this, and Germany is another, so the UK and Germany in South Africa led the replenishment, and we got to nearly $12 billion, I think, which is not peanuts. And the other thing, so it sounds slightly technical, but it's so important to me as a champion of our bilateral development relationship, is that this is a brilliant example of how you can't do things down the phone from Geneva. The Global Fund wanted to spend all this money in Nepal, but if they didn't have the on-the-ground relationship with the medical sector in this country, it was a dialogue of the deaf. So I'm quite proud of the role which the development partners played in brokering a new relationship between the Global Fund with all its money and Nepal with all its needs in this area.
We'll have to take a small break. I know this conversation is very free-flowing, but then we have to make our sponsors happy also.
Yes.
We don't want to ruffle feathers. So, हामी छोटो ब्रेकमा जान्छौँ. ब्रेकपछि लास्ट सेगमेन्ट लिएर हाम्रो अतिथिहरूले फिर्ता आउँछौँ. अहिलेको लागि छोटो मिठो ब्रेक.
At Rhinoland, you don't just get custom-made furniture. They create beauty and functionality. From your homes to offices to luxury resorts, hotels, restaurants, and cafes, they design and craft furniture that transform spaces. Using treated and seasoned wood paired with premier fabrics and leather, they ensure durability, elegance, and sustainability in every piece.
The Fab Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Vita. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhinoland.
तपाईहरुले हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हामीलाई द फ्याब शो हिमालय टेलिभिजनमा एन्ड अवश्य तपाईहरुले युट्युबमा पनि हामीलाई हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। आज हाम्रो कुराकानी राम्रोसित गहिरोसित गइरहेको छ हाम्रो युके एम्बेसडर टु नेपाल हिज एक्सलेन्सी रब फेन्सँग। उहाँसँग हाम्रो कुराकानी भइरहेको थियो ओभरसीज फन्डिङको बारेमा एन्ड हाउ diplomats can play a critical role in unlocking these conversations that can hopefully create more or link more funds to areas in need. Climate is something that is so important. COP30 just recently took place as well. But what we're also seeing is so many different countries are reducing their overseas aid and increasing spending elsewhere. But this brief conversation with you gives me hope that there are funds available. So talking about funding and climate, because sometimes we always worry that there isn't enough funds being directed to fight climate action. What's your perspective on this, and what is the UK government doing to support Nepal to be a much more climate resilient nation?
Exactly. So we've got two main programs in the embassy. One is kind of out there in the communities that need to adapt to climate change. That one is called, it has the slightly sort of catchy title RAIN, but that stands for Resilience, Adaptation and Inclusion in Nepal. And it does what you might expect, working with local governments and with Nepal's disaster preparedness agencies, using the magic of inclusive policy making to help these communities exposed to things like glacial lake outburst floods and so on be better prepared. Our other is more kind of upstream on the financial side, Green Growth Nepal, and that does, I've touched on some of it before, our private sector work. It also, and it's what helped Nepal secure a sovereign credit rating a year ago. But it is also working really hard on exactly what you mentioned, to be a bridge for Nepal to these, sometimes people must think, mythical sources of climate finance, which are so hard to actually get, even though they're pledged, COP after COP, these pledges get made, and where is the cash? And honestly, for a country like Nepal, which is so vulnerable to climate change and has contributed effectively zero to the emissions that are causing it, really deserve to get their hands on that money. So a lot of our work is focused on helping the Adaptation Fund, the Green Finance Fund, all these sort of more global funds, but land here in Nepal. I know, Lex, you work at ICIMOD as I do sometimes, and I've just been spending a few days in a kind of brainstorm around how ICIMOD can play a role in channeling these global funds to its regional member countries. And there are, some of it's direct, ICIMOD and indeed other agencies that the UK works with can become what they call a pass-through organization. So this is the way the cash reaches Nepal. The Asian Development Bank is fully accredited to most of these pots of money, so is also playing this vital role. Also, the multilateral development banks want to be active, more active on climate. So there could be a sort of consultancy role there. Yes. There are things like private sector, corporate social responsibility and philanthropy, everybody wants to help the Hindu Kush Himalaya. You know, it is the water tower of Asia. Billions of people depend on this clean water.
Of course.
So in that sense, Nepal is a steward for everybody downstream. So there's no shortage of interest. And I think Nepal's leadership of the mountain agenda, which we saw at Sagarmatha Sambat earlier, is helping to put the Himalaya more central in the global conversations about climate change. There was a kind of HKH-shaped gap in the data. And so when the UN made its global stocktake, there were a lot of estimates and guesstimates about what was happening in the cryosphere. And actually, there's an ISIMOD-shaped answer to that question. And increasingly, it is the scientists in Nepal, at ISIMOD, who are supplying to the UN the data about HKH, the fate of the glaciers, the imminence of the glacial lake outburst floods. So if good science done here in Nepal and in the Himalaya can be a sort of kite mark for investment, then I think we can start to get more of this money actually spent here. It sounds very technical, but it isn't. Frankly, we are starting to have these climate-driven disasters. And we need to start pumping the water out of these high lakes, which is really hard to do at altitude. And we also need, perhaps my last point on this, is we need to get Nepali scientists and Nepali institutions better connected with climate science networks, which exist. But Nepal has every altitude. You know, if you wanted to do climate science, where better than Nepal? So I spend a lot of time trying to bring universities and climate scientists here. Nepal is littered with agricultural research stations, places like Marfa and Lumle, which have a lot to offer as a sandbox for good climate science. So watch out for progress on that side.
No, this is very exciting.
Thank you for that comprehensive answer.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, detailed, I love that.
And now I'm going to shift a little bit of attention because now we're in the very last few minutes of the show. Well, actually more than that, 5-6 minutes. Let's shift to sports because I came across a recent post where you hosted the teams of Nepal Premier League, and I believe we have some English cricketers also.
10, I think.
Yeah, in the NPL. How was that, and can you tell us more about what happened, and also involvement of the UK government in Nepal in sports section?
So sports is definitely a growing part of my repertoire, not being at all sporty myself.
You play cricket?
The British Embassy played cricket against the Indian Embassy.
Oh, did you win?
No, it was humiliating.
Oh, okay. Well, we can invite Lex next time.
And I had to do this sort of opening over. And because my bowling is so bad, the over was almost endless. It's like every ball was a wide.
So, that doesn't help.
But anyway, luckily there are some better sportsmen in the UK. and indeed sportswomen. We had a very interesting tour by the female cricketers from the combined armed services in the UK. Army, Navy, Air Force cricketers. And they played a number of Nepali women's cricket teams. And I got to meet the captain of the Nepal cricket team. So I think, women's sport is also coming up and starting to be rewarded and invested in in a way that their expertise and talent and athleticism deserves. Football too, quite a lot of involvement. I met a British coach coaching one of the teams here. Lots and lots of sporting interest. Which taps the fact that our civil societies are so close. It's no surprise that when Nepal-based cricket teams, in this case, look for foreign talent, it is British players who more often answer the call. Because it's cricket, but it's also Nepal. It's like, well, why wouldn't I want to go and play in Nepal? Whereas you can imagine a cricketer from somewhere else thinking, I don't really know very much about Nepal, and maybe I'll go somewhere else. But the British people, it's kind of they're predisposed to come here.
Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah. So I just want to follow up that. With English Premier League is one of the most followed leagues in the world, and also Nepal, and the teams are being supported. Also it fits in with the the British engagement in sports, and I'm so happy to hear that you are continuously engaging Nepali sports in teams and other parties.
Exactly how we understand and how we see the UK. So many people see it via all the games and all the teams that they support as well. And sports as a tool of diplomacy and bringing different communities together. The British Army, the Gurkhas, are actively engaging in many different adventure sports.
Oh, yes.
So I know quite a lot of people that I know from the army. Some people come here for sporting tournaments, basketballs, and in very different local municipalities beyond Kathmandu as well. So it's really good to see that. So since I mentioned Gurkhas, I just wanted to add, that 200+ years historic, rich relations. How are things? How does that help your dealings within working in Nepal?
We have a treaty of friendship.
Right.
I don't know any other bilateral relationship around the world, and I've been involved in many, has a friends by treaty. And of course, coming here just as we were celebrating the 100th anniversary of that treaty in 2023, that was what a cricketer would call a full toss, right? We tried to hit it to the boundary, so a beautiful thing. And that friendship means that there is this, as I say, predisposition to be involved with Nepal in the UK. Sport is important because it takes that to the young generations. And I do sometimes worry that we have a sort of intergenerational cliff edge in our friendship. Anyone my age, you say Nepal and they get all kind of emotional. You say it to my children's generation and it's just Nepal is another country and the world's a big place and they have short attention spans. Yeah. We have to work on taking this magic to the new generation.
The new generation.
And we wish you all the best. I mean, now you have 2 more years and we look forward to having more engagement with you here on the set and off the set also, and other occasions also. And we certainly wish you all the best moving forward, and we wish Nepal and UK a very good relationship ahead.
Thank you.
And we also thank you so much for coming to the show today.
Well.
Been a pleasure.
Yes.
And wish we could talk more. Wish we could talk. We had another hour. I think we wanted to hear you sing, but unfortunately we'll have to keep that for next time. Maybe we'll do it behind the scenes.
There is a recording of me singing very badly, but with the Mero Euta Satija,
which really
about friendship,
captures UK Nepal's friendship. And you can visit at UK in Nepal to see all the clips from His Excellency because they won't leave you bored. Exciting. All right, on that note,
shall we say goodbye?
Shall we say goodbye?
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Pleasure.
र यहाँको दिन शुभ रहोस् र फेरि हामीलाई भोलि हेर्न नबिर्सनु होला द फ्याब शो अन्त किन हेर्ने हामी सँगै छ सबै त बाइ बाइ
The Fab Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alphavita. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhinoland.